Okay, sorry. Try again one last time, eh? All sorts of tech issues this morning. Sorry, I'm just streaming. Um, so this will be a quick one because I've already got most of it right in my head now. Basically, looking at the liquidity heat maps, it looks like Bitcoin wants to come down and tag this 6,400-ish level. It'll probably sweep down to about that 60,200. But it's not looking super like it will go much further than that, at least at this stage. But yeah, there is quite a bit down towards that level. Um, Obviously, we've got a fair bit above as well. So that at the moment, downside is more likely. We're already down here, so why wouldn't it try and eat this liquidity? And realistically, when you're looking at the daily, why the frick did my volume? That's annoying. Extend that out. Yeah, realistically, I think been a decent bounce. Oh, that's because it's finance. Use the Bybit chart. Yeah, a little bit of resistance here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of have a sweep into this area still. I think it's going to try and hold that 60k mark though. Not a lot further down. Not a lot of open interest around there. I think it's more likely to come back up into these levels sooner rather than later, which will suggest that we'll probably get actually a decent run to the upside if that happens. So maybe a little bit more downside left. We go down onto the 15-minute time frame. The bot had a full stop loss last night. That was unfortunate. This one doesn't trade very often either. Actually, I'll try and bring up a cleaner chart. Well, that trade's probably not going to work out either. That's the interesting thing. Yeah, okay. I mean, it kind of looks like it's rolling over here. Typically, that sort of really smooth arch that you get sometimes on Bitcoin will tend to roll over and keep going to the downside. So that's something to keep in mind. Generally, when Bitcoin's moving in a much more jagged way, then it can go either way, really. Whereas, yeah, you get that rolling over and it just keeps going. Doesn't work the same way to the upside typically. You don't tend to get Bitcoin doing much of the upside down, like a cup and handle type scenario. But yeah, it's looking a bit indecisive at the moment. It may come back down into this demand. I don't think it'll come all the way back down to this level of demand if it does, but you know, it depends how much liquidity there is in the market and how many people are trying to sell the thing off, really. What does the market want to do? Oh, that's an old one. Around with. Yeah, most time frames are still bearish down to at least the 30-minute. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting day. There wasn't a lot of volume today so far. What have we got an hour left? Probably not going to be huge amount of volume, but in fact the stochastic momentum's heading up still. Volatility's increasing a bit. At the moment, the general trend is probably back towards the upside, but until we clear this bearish control zone, you can't really get too excited about it, I don't think. I'd also like to see it above this, the wick of today's high. So above that 62,485 would be handy. But to just in terms of what the rest of the market's doing, you still got global liquidity still dropping. You do have a bit of a jump in, interesting, after the close it's coming down a bit, but the Nasdaq was kind of flat, a little bit higher yesterday. Again, I think this is just hunting those 0-day option puts. Yeah, you can hear me now. That's good. If we look at the SPY, again, these two up days on the SPY, not a lot of volume. I think this is generally options that are controlling this market at the moment, and Wall Street trying not to pay them. Interesting, Nvidia's stochastic momentum. I suspect we're still coming into at least the 50 EMA on Nvidia. Your volatility is decreasing still, even though we've had a little bump. Stochastic's still to the downside. Yeah, I'd expect more downside here. But in saying that, the Mag 7 had a pretty good day overall. But again, is it just them that's leading the market? Let's have a look at IWM. So IWM's down overall on the day. That 200 level is probably going to be hard to get past at the moment. I would say we're still in this overall downtrend. On the higher time frame, probably see that better on the 5-day. Still definitely trending down here. Volatility is very low, which, yeah, if that keeps going down and volatility jumps up, that could come down a lot more. But at the same time, if volatility pops up and this pops to the upside, it's actually probably going to be quite bullish in the long term. At the moment, IWM's pretty non-responsive. He's hopefully you're not in IWM trading at the moment because it's pretty shit. Interesting. XLI, the industrials are dropping from a reasonable peak too, so that probably will break that 100 EMA there. As we got a bit of volatility increasing, it's just ticked above the signal line there. That's quite a bearish signal, especially because we are so close to the bottom of this range too. If we break that range, that could suggest there's something a bit bigger happening. Dixie has had a little pump, broken this high, so no signs of Dixie slowing down at the moment, really. Could at least come up into here, which is going to make it hard for stocks and crypto to actually go up. Bit of a flight to safety trade there. Volatility, treasuries have dropped a little. Where's my proper volatility? There. The volatility is dropping. I wouldn't pay too much attention to this because we could very easily put in a lower high here. Gold looks like it's really going to challenge the bottom of this range here. If we don't break above the 50 quite quickly on this, then chances are it's probably going to come back down at least to the 100 EMA, if not 200. So I would suggest the next couple of days are going to be pretty critical for gold. Yield curve is still inverted, but it did drop quite hard yesterday, and that's just because basically the 2-year came down relative to the 10-year. So the 10-year actually had a bit of a pump, which is again suggesting that investors are looking for safer plays potentially at the moment, just starting to move into it. That's global liquidity. Might be finding a base here. It's an interesting. Yeah, still trending down anyway. Oil's a bit sideways, probably retest in around the 79 mark. And then I'd probably expect a bit of a bounce from there, especially if stocks come down. Have a quick look at Ethereum. Again, nothing much different to Bitcoin. It's kind of holding above the 100 EMA though at the moment, which is interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a nothing day. It's going to be on the shorter time frames today for Bitcoin, which are bearish at the moment. Like if we get back above the 200 EMA and we start to see a turnaround, then I'd be expecting it to come back into these sort of areas up here. Probably with a bit of resistance up around there, I would think. But at the moment, we've got to clear the liquidity that's up around here. Those sort of levels. So 63k is probably going to be a bit of a resistance level for it. Looks like there's a fair bit of liquidity trapped in here. And then the next leg up will get you into there. And then it's anyone's guess, but I suspect there's going to actually be a lot of liquidity to the downside if we do get up that high. So it could be choppy for a bit yet, but at the moment, I'm still sort of looking at it more to the downside on the shorter time frames. It's just, yeah, not a lot. Gosh. If we put in a higher high here, what you want to look out for 5 minutes, actually interesting setup here, kind of ranging, which could be seen as a bit of a bear flag. Take the magnet off. So basically it could be coming in here as a bit of a bear flag. If we break, and I probably wouldn't do it on the angle, I'd probably be more keen on this level here. If we break and close above that, I think that's quite a strong sign that we may go quite a bit higher. But on the 5 minute time frame, you're actually forming potential W pattern here. This would still be sort of valid. If we moved up into that, broke down, and then came away off this level here, that'd be pretty reasonably bullish as well, at least for a short-term move. And to proof that out, you're probably looking at least a move up into here, recover that vector. Not necessarily going to get you too much further, but could actually get you, sorry, the proof is probably more like this. Could get you up into these highs, up into this level here. But we've got to break that level. And at the moment, there's still a lot of the rips are being met with sell demand, so it's kind of still bearish at the moment until we do make that change of structure. Okay, that's about it for today, I think. You want to look at the Brazilian dollar? Daily. Put that. Oops. Brazilian. She's still. Oh, okay. That's an interesting break. When I say break, I mean break. That's looking like it wants to go into freefall. What's Brazil been doing lately? Everyone hates their currency, do they? Still firmly in the bearish control zone. Wow. It did have a little bounce where we thought it had bounced, but geez, that just got ripped. What's that move? Just that part of the move there is 10%. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's coming into this level, really. What is that white line? Yeah, that doesn't look good for the Brazilian real. Can't give you much more than that at the moment, but it looks like it's going to come down into the 17.5 range, especially if the US dollar keeps ripping, which it looks like there's no sign that it's stopping at the moment anyway. You might get a few small bounces around when the US dollar hits these highs, but it's also trending up here. Like there's some pretty decent higher highs, higher lows here. You need basically a break of trend of the Dixie or the Brazilian dollar to come down or to go back up, I'd say. Not a lot to suggest that's going to happen at the moment. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news there, Joshua. All right, I'll catch you tomorrow.